Today, we're going to look at the most recognizable set of quarterback brothers to have ever played in the NFL. Okay, maybe not quite, but they do have interesting career arcs to dive into, so buckle up and get ready for a football family comparison between David and Derek Carr. Beginning with the older brother of the two, David Carr was the number 1 overall pick of the 2002 NFL Draft by the new expansion franchise Houston Texans. And you could argue this was really unfortunate timing for David Carr to enter the NFL, as playing for an expansion franchise did not set up Carr for success. For example, in his rookie season, Carr would be sacked an NFL record 76 times. That absurd number of sacks might also play a role in the other NFL record he set his rookie year. He recovered an NFL record 12 fumbles that year, all of which were his own. Both of those records still stand to this day. He would only be sacked 15 times in his second season, although he would only play in 12 games. In his third season, Carr eclipsed 3,000 yards passing for the first time, and finished with more touchdowns than interceptions for the first time in his career, with 16 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. Yet, the relentless sacks would return, and he'd be sacked an NFL-leading 49 times. His fourth season in 2004 saw a dip in passing yards, but he did keep a positive touchdown to interception ratio. And yes, the sacks continued. David would be sacked 68 times in 2004, the third highest in NFL history. Carr's time with the Texans, and as a full-time starting quarterback in the NFL, would come to an end following the 2006 season, when the Texans decided to move forward with former Falcons quarterback Matt Schaub as their starter instead. Over the next few years, Carr would be relegated to backup duties on the Panthers, Giants, 49ers, and then ending his career as the backup for the Giants a second time in 2011. He never played a snap in 2011, but he did receive a Super Bowl ring for their win in Super Bowl 46. Overall, in his 11-year NFL career, David Carr would throw for 14,452 yards and 65 touchdowns with 71 interceptions. As a starter, Carr never finished with a winning record. He also never received any major awards or recognitions in his career. As a former number 1 overall draft pick, the expectations for David were of course very high. And while David Carr may not be the best quarterback in the world, it's hard to fully judge him when his development and team success were so stunted by the growing pains of an expansion franchise. His career may not have gone the way he had hoped for, but Carr's experience would play a huge role in helping his little brother prepare for his NFL journey. The younger brother of David, Derek Carr, would attribute the help of his brother for one of the reasons for his own relative success at the NFL level. Unlike his brother, who was taken number 1 overall, Derek Carr entered the NFL as a second-round draft pick by the Oakland Raiders in 2014. Carr started training camp as the backup to none other than the former Texans quarterback, Matt Schaub, the man who once replaced his older brother in Houston. Derek Carr would be able to avenge his brother and take the Raiders' starting quarterback job from Schaub after an impressive preseason performance. Carr would become the first rookie quarterback in Raiders history to start a season opener. Carr would go on to have a fairly successful season performance-wise, throwing for 3,270 yards and 21 touchdowns to only 12 interceptions. However, his Raiders team as a whole would only win 3 games that year. But unlike his brother, whose growth seemed to be stunted his entire career, Derek Carr began to piece it all together rather quickly. In his second season, he threw for just shy of 4,000 yards and a career-high 32 touchdowns to only 13 interceptions. This earned him his first Pro Bowl. He carried that momentum into his third season and threw for another 3,900 yards, while cutting down his mistakes even further to 28 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions. He would earn another Pro Bowl and even receive some votes for league MVP. Meanwhile, the Raiders would start an impressive 12-3 that year with Carr under center. However, Carr would suffer a fibular fracture in Week 16 and miss the final game and playoffs. The Raiders would lose in Week 17 and finish 12-4 on the season, which is still good, But unfortunately, the Kansas City Chiefs also finished 12-4, and they had the tiebreaker. Therefore, the Raiders were forced to play in the wild card instead of receiving a bye week, and they would ultimately lose their playoff game 27-14 to the Houston Texans. Derek Carr would come back the following season and earn his third Pro Bowl, but his performances overall began to level out, and the talent around him would also begin to thin out. For the next 3 years, he would hover around 4,000 yards passing and 20-ish touchdowns a season, which is fine, but the team never finished better than 8-8. In 2021, the Raiders' second year after relocating to Las Vegas, Derek Carr threw for a career-high 4,804 yards, with 23 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. The Raiders finally broke back into a winning record for the first time in 5 years, and with it, their first playoff berth in 5 years. This time, Derek Carr would be healthy and make his first ever playoff start 8 years into his career. Yet, the Raiders wouldn't be good enough to beat Joe Burrow's Bengals in the wild card. Carr would then go on to put up another okay season statistically in 2022. However, it became clear the Raiders front office was ready to move on from their longtime starting quarterback. And after an awkward and contentious benching, the Raiders would attempt to trade Carr, before ultimately releasing him to become a free agent. At 31 years old, and with plenty left in the tank, Derek Carr would sign a 4-year contract with the Saints in 2023 to reunite him with the head coach that drafted him and gave him a shot in Oakland way back in the day, Dennis Allen. Up to this point in his career, Derek Carr has 35,222 passing yards, 217 touchdowns, and 99 interceptions. Carr finished as the Raiders' all-time leader in passing yards and passing touchdowns during his 9 years with the Raiders. He also had 4 Pro Bowl selections to his name. Will Carr be able to get back on track with a new supporting cast and coach, and possibly capture that elusive playoff win? Only time will tell. Now, if you've watched to this point, I really appreciate it, and I'm going to throw you a bonus fact, which means only you that watched this far will get to walk away with this knowledge. David and Derek Carr are not the only ones from their family to have played in the NFL. They have another relative who suited up on Sundays, Lon Boyette, a tight end who played in just 3 career games for the 49ers and recorded 0 stats, and also has apparently no images on the internet, is the uncle of David and Derek Carr. So there's a reward for sticking with me. I want you to comment below Lon Boyette to let me know you've made it to the end of this video. And if you've enjoyed this type of content, please give this video a like. And if you want to stay notified of similar videos to this, then consider hitting the subscribe button as well. But the best way you can help me out is to share this video with other football fans and to help continue to grow this community. I thank you for taking the time to watch the video. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.